The KUAM news team, Biba Betness, and it's a jam-packed show this morning. So let's just get right into it and welcome former Governor Carl Gutierrez to the show. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning.
Wow. Good morning, Sabrina and Chris.
Well, first of all, congratulations.
Well, thank you. I know it's a daunting task, but not as daunting as what the governor is going through right now in preparing the island to be able to have me put up a plan that would be able to bring not only tourists but other development for economic development here.
Well, I know early on, Chris and I had been talking. We were like, former Governor Carl Gutierrez is actually working for the governor. Where is he? Why haven't we seen him, up in front of this? Considering the fact that you have so much experience with disaster response. So
there was some because I was doing economic studies and stuff, and there was some confusion as to why we're not in that group that the governor put together when we had our own separate group that's eventually going to merge. But we figured all that out, and now I'm here on this job.
Right. And so, how excited are you? We could go on all day about why it took so long to fold you into the team. Why they didn't capitalize on your vast experience as a two-term governor who's faced, one disaster after another and handled them, right? So how are you feeling, Governor, to kind of, be called out on the ball field, and are you going to be hitting a home run with GVB?
Well, first of all, I do want to thank the governor and the lieutenant governor, and especially Sonny Ada and the board of directors at GVB for putting that faith and trust in me to do what they said I did in the past. And I know that when I looked around and after the announcement, oh my goodness, all of those people, most of them in the business community, in the industry, everywhere on the island, not only businessmen, but people in general, in the clergy, messaging me that they want to come back and help formulate the vision to move forward and get us out of this bind as we did back in 1995 with Vision 2001, where the community actually came together. The community came together and formulated where they want this island to move forward to. And as I said when I was interviewed yesterday, that I said the business community, I know they're losing money, but they're still making the money. And I said, get ready to work for GovGuam for free, because I'm going to call everybody in as I did in the past.
Get over here, Uncle Carl's calling you guys. Hey, get over here.
When Uncle Carl calls you,
go. What, get paid? I'm going to get paid, boy. I ain't. But I go get paid. Hi. No, Governor, I was talking about this with Nestor yesterday, and this is something you did when you were governor. You had, people who hated on you, critics, and when you got it, you said, hey, that was yesterday, put your money where your mouth is. And so we're going to see the same kind of thing with what you're doing with GVB and the economy.
Yeah, and back then, I was a very strong Democrat, and the people I called in was about 90% Republicans, and they all couldn't figure out why I called them in the second week of my administration into the big conference room. And as they all gathered in and they sat one by one, they were asking each other, what are we here for? And I told them that I'm not here, I didn't ask you to come in here to punish you, only in the matter of having you work for the GovGuam for free. So let's formulate our plan and our vision so that we can move forward and create the economy that was lost because of the bubble burst in Asia and other misdeeds that went on in the United States government. But we did that, and first thing that we put together was formulate the infrastructure at Tumon if we are going to really put a center stage for our tourism. Because if you remember back in Tumon, it was helter-skelter the way they were building down there. And work with Al Israel, Bob Cole, and others to come up with the Pleasure Island concept and develop that area as the center stage of our tourism, like Kalakaua in Waikiki.
So, Gov, how's this going to work? Are you going to have like Zoom meetings or? I'm just trying to figure out how you're going to do this with social distancing.
I don't know. I'm going to start spraying their noses or something because I can't really. I can't really talk out of that mask, you know. And I want to see them. I want to let
Face
them
to
see me when
face.
I'm smiling, you know.
Face
And,
honesty.
but we'll figure it out. I know I'm not too good on the Zoom or whatever they call that. That was not in my past.
You got to ask your grandkids, Gov. They know how to do it.
Yeah.
I did. I asked Seth and Liam and Lydia, and they're teaching me how to get on. But I think GVB would be my first. I haven't been there yet. I haven't set foot in GVB, but I did get a call from Pilar, and I congratulated her for 41 years.
Mhm.
Actually, for the 41 years we worked together. When I was even a board member at GVB back then, and when I was governor, she was very, very helpful, and I really admire that young lady. And so I'm going to go in there. Sunny Ada has just texted me and wanted me to come in and talk about arrivals, etc. But I'm going to have to, you know, plan out my work schedule. But GVB, I have to go in there, set up shop, and the governor's asking me now for my budget to be able to augment my economic development group so that we can really get this thing done the correct way. I need people to put the plan together, get it ready for her to implement if she accepts it.
Gov, 90 days. So I know that a lot of people believe you are that miracle worker, but what are we going to accomplish in 90 days? I mean, it already seems like you hit the ground running last week.
Yeah, the 90 days is at GVB to hold down the range until they get a permanent president there, and then but I have that ETNIA, they call Economic Development National International Affairs Group. That's where I want to admit some people and hire a couple of other people to be able to put the things together and set up our vision for moving forward. The governor and the lieutenant governor, I've been there before. You just don't have time for all the different minutiae you got to go through. So they're going to have to depend on our group, and that group. So I fall right back to ETNIA, my economic development group, after GVB. But I would have gone in there, gotten all the insights of the GVB materials and all of their studies, and be able to talk to the industry, the stakeholders in tourism, and know exactly how they feel and what they want included in the vision plan.
Mhm. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for you?
Well, first of all, it's the governor's, like I said, it's her daunting task to be able to prepare the island to receive visitors. And then after we feel like we've got a good selling point, we market that first maybe to Taiwan, since they're about the best in the world and you know, evading this virus. And then our regular marketplace, Korea and Japan. And but once we set the states safe, then we go and market that. And there are a lot of people with the marketing skills to be able to move that forward. But I will make personal visits to the powers that be in Korea, Taiwan, and Japan, and the Philippines, and see what we can do to ignite those markets again, and tell Guam that we are indeed safe. And let's help the governor and the lieutenant governor get this island safe. We need to all come together, man. I'm telling you, it's a tough job. People make mistakes. I understand that. They're making mistakes in every state back in the continental United States, the federal government. This is a new thing, and sometimes we move quickly to be able to to avert things. But let's all work together, and please help me out there. I need all the help I can. So when I call on you, anybody, even in the community, when I call on you to give us an idea on how it is to be able to help the homeless, for example, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of our community people that has never been brought into the 21st century. They don't have running water. They don't have sewer. And I've got to be able to deal with that too. The homeless population, we're talking with people right now to be able to figure out where and how to put up the shelters for our homeless people, especially the veterans that have given their all to be able to live out the rest of their lives in some kind of comfort.
Right, Gov, I wanted to ask you because I mean, you have a tremendous grassroots following. When people say grassroots governor, it is what it is. I mean, you're the guy that they're thinking about. So Lord knows your people have had a struggle during this COVID pandemic crisis. Waiting for aid. I know you see it out there, Gov, with the grab and go meals. People lining up to get something to eat. The homeless. What would your message be to those people that have fallen by the wayside or feel that they've been forgotten or left behind during this pandemic?
Well, we know that we do have, the governor has sent out her people to be able to search these people out. But as I told her, I think my forte is that I will go out myself and give them some comfort and some hope that the governor of Guam has sent out someone. When I was governor, they looked up at me as I drive into those boony trails, and when they see me, they know that something is going to get done. And they have and lift up their hopes and find out what their problem is, because sometimes, as you sit at Adelup, as I did in the past, some people come up there and tell you their problems like leaking faucet or no sewer. And the admiral asked me one time when he was listening to this old lady tell me that her faucet has been leaking for 3 years and waterworks hasn't shown up. And so I told the admiral, I said, you know what? It may be small to us, but that lady's problem of her leaky faucet is the biggest problem she has, and that I will attend to that. Mm-hmm. So, when somebody gives you their problems, treat it as if they're their biggest problems that you're facing. And so I'm going to go out in the community. Hopefully I got the right people to continue the movement forward in the committee, while I make some visits for the governor out in the community and lift up some spirits and some hope.
Go ahead, Bree.
No, I wanted to.
That's good to hear, Gov.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about, you're talking about, problems and people sharing their problems and things like that. But at any point, considering the fact that you have all of this experience in disaster response and recovery, did the governor ever go to you asking, for some advice? And if so, what did she tell you? What did you tell her?
Well, the governor didn't personally. She asked Tony Babauta to look for me, and obviously they were so busy she didn't look for me. So I kept on plugging forward, doing our economic future development, and until I guess the people were asking where was I, and I think Chris Barnett started the whole situation on this story. And then the governor said, "Oh my goodness, yeah, where is Governor Gutierrez?" I thought I had asked him to come in and be looped in, and I wasn't. But she did call me in right away, and we discussed it. And this is the task I have right now. Thanks, Chris.
Hey, you're welcome, Gov. Anytime. So,
what did you mean that you were going to be going out into the community and lift spirits?
Because some people, there's the media that people listen to. It's like doom and gloom. I want them to see a face higher up in the hierarchy, to know that somebody cares and is out there looking for them, to listen to their plight, and hopefully we can get the department, right people to attend to that. No matter how small that problem is, we've got to give them hope that they belong in the community. Mm-hmm. And I want to bring, water to those people that don't have water. Can you imagine 2020, 20 years into the 21st century, and they haven't been brought in? It's unconscionable. And the governor, hopefully I can convince her to set some funds aside, whatever act that has come from the federal government, to set aside some of those to be able to provide the basic for health and life. That's water for our people. They can't afford $6,000 to get hooked up.
Gov, that's admirable that you're going to be going out and doing that. But at the same time, why isn't the governor going out and doing that?
I'm telling you, sitting at Adelup, it's not easy to just get up and go out. It took me a while to set things so that I was able to go out afterwards. It took me a year and a half. It took me to get out when Korean Airlines struck on August 6, 1997, and then three months later, December, Korean Airlines pulled out, and 2 days later, Typhoon Paka hit, and that's when I decided that I can do all the planning I can. I'm getting all of these monies from FEMA. I had to go out and assure the people that we're in this together and that they will not be forgotten. So that face out there is very important. The government,
and you say that, Gov, and you're right. Your face is important, and I don't think you waited a year and a half, because I was at the Korean air crash, and you were there the day of the Korean air crash. You were right on the front line. I mean, literally on the front line.
You got in the backhoe before.
Well, Yeah, because I know how to operate it. And when we're out there, when we're out there, any all GPA when we were stringing lines, I was like a general helper for GPA, so that we can all help. I had
Yeah,
Susan, Jess,
right.
the Venti, police officers that was with me. We're all helping. So once we get the people with their hands coming to help each other with the governor will eventually get out there. But I'm just going to be able to do what I do best. I have the personality to be able to deal with the people that way. The governor has everything falling on her right now at Adelup, so let's all help her out. Let's just get some positive stuff out there for our government.
Right, and so I see that you want to take some of the pressure off of Governor Lou, but when you talk about personalities, you have a very big personality. You cast a wide shadow. So how do you kind of balance that, Gov, with staying in your lane and doing what the governor has deputized you to do, when I know that you have the experience and you have that vision where you can see the whole field and see all the different problems, and it sounds like you just want to help in every way, shape, and form that you can. So how do you kind of juggle that desire to help the people of Guam, but also to, kind of, like I said, stay in your lane?
Well, first of all, there's only one governor on this island, and I know that. And everything that we do ends up in the governor's desk for her final approval. Nothing gets done by my own empowerment. And she's given me the leeway to go out and bring all of these the community together, the stakeholders, and come up with a plan for her to look at and for her to implement. She's the final say-so, and the lieutenant governor. So I automatically stay on my own lane. And a lot of people thought that, how can you do that with two governors? I mean, when we were at the state funeral, when we first came in, the governor and I were standing there at the front of the legislature, and somebody called governor, and we both turned around. It's awkward, but the governor's title is an indelible mark that stays with you. Not every title, but and she knows that now, that I'm only there to help her. She's the governor of Guam.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua's the lieutenant governor.
That's good.
My job is to bring things to her and him.
Mm-hmm. Well, Governor, there's an opinion that was out on the double pay issue, which basically it doesn't look like any of these essential workers are going to get double pay for working this emergency, at least as a result of this AG opinion. It's up to the legislature to decide what they're going to do with it. But how do you stand on double pay for essential workers during an emergency?
You know what? I'm not into the issue right now. I don't want to second guess anything. I don't even know what amount of money is there available. Mm-hmm. You can triple pay. You can mandate triple pay and all that, but if you don't have the resources, you just can't do it. But with the governor wants to do what is right for the people, and she's trying to juggle I guess the amount of money we have to be able to make that happen. But I'm not up on the issue. I hate to comment on it because I've been trying to figure out right now, as they give my job for tourism, how to be able to tackle it first and bring people in.
Gov, in your remarks yesterday at the press conference, you said that you wanted to, again, you call in the business community, work for free. But then you also said that you wanted to hear from the stakeholders, the people of Guam. How do you plan to include the people of Guam's, the rank and file people, the grassroots? How do you plan to include their voices in what you're going to do with GVB and with the economy?
Well, first, there are some people that from the community that would be asked to come in and give their perspective. Even as a group, the homeless, for example, need to be heard, and we need to be able to figure that's part of the plan, is how to help the plight of the homeless, and especially the veterans too, and the Veterans Affairs situation. We've got to include the entire a plan for the vision for Guam, not leave one iota out. Everybody is going to be taken care of. Like even the water, that has nothing to do with the pandemic now, but it may exacerbate the problem if you don't take care of giving people running water and sewer, because you're going to just create another problem.
And plus, they got to wash their hands.
What's that?
They got to wash their hands too.
Exactly, you got it right, and it's terrible that a small community of 167,000, and there's 3,000 or 4,000 people without running water. Can you believe that?
Gov, when you talk about going into the jungle and and it's kind of, I mean, the island has changed, right? So when you were Gov, you would always talk about going into the jungle, going to these hard to reach places, these Chamorro land trust lots where people were, living a subsistence style where they didn't have running water or they didn't even have electricity. The game has changed a little bit, Gov, where now we're seeing these people who maybe 10, 20 years ago were living in the middle of the jungle somewhere. Now they're living on the streets.
That's true. But even if that's the case right now, there's still a solution to take care of that, and that's what I want to be able to ascertain and to be able to get the minds of this island together to solve that problem and find out what the real situation is. You're right, times have changed, but the situation is that there's still a heart of this island, and that heart has to go out to everyone.
Gov, I understand, your GVB appointment is for 90 days, but I wanted to talk about the economic side and your responsibilities there. What new, industries are you looking to develop, or current industries that you plan on building up?
Well, first of all, for the last year and a half, we've been going through and helping permitting several hotel development. And there's one more that just sent in their potential hotels over in the old Royal Palms area. But we have to be able to prop up the island to be able to receive tourists. But we're also looking at the funds that President Trump has knocked down the corporate taxes from 30+% to 21%. And use the law that Mike St. Nicholas had passed, the repatriation of these funds to go through to Gulf Guam, and then Gulf Guam is part of the United States. So there's about $428 billion that are still out there that they haven't brought in to the United States. These are the profits of U.S. corporations in foreign countries, and if we can do that into the qualifying certificate plan, it's a law right now. We just need to tweak it and amend it to be able to get a third party to have a more of a commission than just 1% or less. They wouldn't do that. If the Microsoft company that has $20 billion of profits want to send it through to the United States, well, Guam is in the United States. They can send it here, and then we can rebate 75% of that and keep 25% of those profits. This is we're the only place in the United States, the entire United States, that can rebate federal funds, and that's through the qualifying certificate program. And that was a fluke. The federal government was asleep at the switch when this was passed way back in 1968. We've got to take advantage of it. I know people are worried that the federal government might look dimly on it, but it's the United States. That's why we need to be able to make friends with Trump and let him understand it from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm. So what industries are you looking at that we could probably...
There's a lot of industries in Asia, around the world, that have kept their profits in and not bring it back to the United States because there was a 36% corporate tax, and they didn't want to do it. Trump brought it down to 21%, and it is still 21% now. And then he's not too much money was coming in at 21%, so he decided to give 1 year grace period, and he'll bring it down to 15%. That was the end of 2018, and a lot of money came back in at 15%. But can you imagine if we route that through here, take that 21% that they're supposed to pay, and take 25% of that and keep it here. And so it's an easy thing. It's an in and out in 45 days for those funds. So that's a possibility. And the other one is that the Navy, and if the governor has done a wonderful job, the community of Guam has done a wonderful job. Barrigada Mayor June Blas and Jesse Bautista and the entire population of Barrigada showed what a true heart of the Chamorros are when they helped out the USS Roosevelt, the aircraft carrier. They even gave the governor a thank you award. And now that we see that Guam, who looked at the Navy, they were the ones that ruled us from 1898, and they had decided 20 years ago that they didn't want a ship repair facility here in Guam. They want to go to Singapore. Well, I've been working with person that owns the Big Blue, the dry dock that's been refurbished. I think over $12 million they used in China is sitting there waiting to come back to Guam for recertification. The Navy is still adamant that they don't want ship repair facility in Guam. They want to continue to go to Singapore. Well, I visited Congressman Garamendi, who's in charge of that area, and he has kind of frowned at the Navy for not moving aside and allowing Guam to have that ship repair facility here. That's 380 jobs immediately if we move it here, move that dry dock here. So I'm working on that as well, and also just the tax efficiency corporations that are out there, because the European people do not want to go to the Cayman Islands anymore, or the British Virgin Islands, and we have someone here presenting to us the possibility that Guam will be the ideal one because of our location and our time zone.
Gov, what about aquaculture? I know that this is something that you talked about when you were governor. Governor Liu had mentioned it during the campaign. Is this something that you think could be something that we could stand up and make some money off of?
Which one?
Aquaculture,
Yeah, the governor, I think she mentioned it. Aquaculture, agriculture.
We can, and especially aquaculture. We have 3 companies we've been working with, mostly from Taiwan and one from Korea, that want to look for the right piece of property to go into the aquaculture for shrimp farm. There are people that are interested. India wants to be able to help us. The governor asked me to go to India because they have grants also to come here and work something out in agriculture. Taiwan in the vertical farming, we went there to look at it with Ed Camacho, and although very expensive, but we're still looking at different things. And that's my job for the last 18 months. Now we've got the business community even more so helping us.
Mm-hmm. I did want to ask, what is the status, or do you even know about the small business grant with Gita?
No, I don't. Ed Camacho is the perfect man for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't delved into that, but there is availability of those small business grants. And although some in the past, most of it was a failure, simply because it was not run properly. But now it's been very, very, judiciously looked at.
Gov, I know you said that you're going to be putting together your panel, the IETNA. Who's going to be on that? Do you have any ideas yet?
There's some that the governor impaneled the Recovery Council under David John, and there's I think 24 total there. I'm looking at about keeping 6 from there and be able to bring in maybe 6 or 7 more. I've already got a response from Mike Israel, who wants to be able to join, and there are more people that have put in their bid to be part of it. And but we're not going to turn anybody away. We just want to keep the cadre into a smaller group of 12 to 15.
Okay.
Well, Gov, thank you.
A lot of information.
Yeah, it is. Wow. Thanks for your time. I know you're going to be doing the rounds on the talk shows this morning, so good luck.
You.
Good luck with that. And anytime you want to come on, maybe weekly, we could do a check-in. You update us on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a chance to find at my desk at GVB first.
Right.
All right. Thanks.
We should go to his office. And
Right.
do the interview.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Thank you,
Gov.
Okay, Gov.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Wash
Good
your
luck.
hands. All right. There you go. Former Governor Carl Gutierrez, who is the new interim 90-day president over the Guam Visitors Bureau, and also tapped to lead the IETNA. What did you say?
Something like
Something
that.
like that. Yeah. It's a,
Don't want to get it confused with the.
there's so many council panel advisor
Yeah.
things that. Well, this is the new one.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a little break, and coming back, I believe Lillian Pasanas from the Guam Memorial Hospital. We're going to be speaking with her at 7:03. We're KUAM FM Agotni, Guam. Good morning.
Keeping you informed.